Thanks for stopping by this edition of the Kansas City Chiefs Report by Chat Sports. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. We have the latest on Nick Bolton's future with the Kansas City Chiefs. Will he stay? Will he go? We will tell you the latest details on the Chiefs linebacker coming up in just a matter of moments. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Now, before we go any further in today's program, if you want the Chiefs to have a great offseason, I need you to like today's video. If they get 500 likes on today's video, if we do that, then Brett Veach is going to knock it out of the park. I can guarantee you that much. If you don't believe me, just hit the like button. Don't jinx it. All right, don't take any chances. Hit that like button for a great offseason, and we'll get started with today's show. According to a new report from the Sports Illustrated Chiefs site, the Chiefs are not expected to franchise tag linebacker Nick Bolton ahead of NFL free agency, which begins here in just a few weeks. And when you see the numbers, it makes sense. The linebacker franchise tag price, currently speaking, is $25.66 million. And that's when you factor in with the salary cap being raised, of that number being escalated. And you may be saying to yourself, $25 million for a linebacker? That sounds ridiculous. Well, that's because it is. And it's a fault in the system where, I'll put it in the simplest terms here, they classify the off-ball linebackers with the outside linebackers in one category. All right? There's not a specific category for edge rushers. They all get lumped together, similar to what happens with the offensive line. We've complained about this of the Trey Smith situation where all the linemen get classified together and not separated by tackle, guard, and center. Same can be said here between off-ball linebackers and outside linebackers. It's a stupid system. I hope the NFLPA does something about it in the next collective bargaining agreement, because these players and these teams, for that matter, are getting screwed by it. And so it creates this scenario where there's just simply no way. It doesn't make any business financial sense to franchise tag Nick Bolton when that type of money would be a lot more than he would make on the open market of what you would sign him for. It just doesn't make any sense from a financial standpoint to give him the franchise tag with those numbers that are out there. So with that said, let's dive into what Chiefs on Sports Illustrated had to say about this situation. Per Over the Cap, the league's highest paid linebacker on an annual basis is Baltimore's Roquan Smith at $20 million per year. In other words, Bolton, Philadelphia's Zach Bond, or any other linebacker isn't likely to get the franchise tag in the next 2 weeks. That means that if the Chiefs aren't able to come to terms with Bolton, one of the pillars on a dominant defense, he's played his last snap in Kansas City. So, with that said, folks, you look at his projection of, according to Spotrac, it's supposed to be about a 4-year, $49.3 million deal. You don't have to be a math genius to figure out, yeah, that's a lot cheaper than what the franchise tag would be. And so with that said, with the tag out of the equation here, what I would expect out of Brett Veach and the Kansas City Chiefs over the next couple of weeks is one last final push to keep Nick Bolton, to be aggressive, to see if they can get something done. And then if not, then look at their other options, whether it be other linebackers in free agency or the draft, whatever it may be. That's what I think is coming up. Franchise tag not happening. Nick Bolton, very good chance at this point that he could be walking out that door as we're running out of time. Clock is running out on getting a deal done, something they've been trying to get done since last offseason and to no avail at this point. We're going to have more on Nick Bolton from Fox Sports' Peter Schrager. I got the chance to catch up with him and ask him about this situation and the likelihood of him returning to Kansas City. We'll tell you what Schrager had to say and bring you our exclusive interview with him coming up in just a few moments. Before we do, will the Chiefs find a way to re-sign Nick Bolton? It's our pinned comment today. Weigh in, let us know. Type S for sign, P for pass. Chime in and let me know if you think Nick Bolton's coming back or not. The Kansas City Chiefs Report has the best Chiefs coverage you won't find anywhere else, as we're talking daily news and rumors, live shows each and every Tuesday. We are bringing you interactive Q&A mailbags, breaking news. We're talking draft, free agency, trades, and more. This is your off-season headquarters for all things Kansas City Chiefs. Subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications so you never miss a moment. Let's get at least 20 subs off today's video. Why not, right? Hop on board and stay a while. Subscribe now for free. YouTube.com/Chiefs TV to subscribe now. All right. So Peter Schrager does an incredible job with Fox Sports as one of their NFL insiders. You also see him on the NFL Network on Good Morning Football. Does a really good job covering the league as a whole. And when I was talking to Schrager, I got the chance to ask him about the Chiefs' kind of off-season outlook. This was at the Super Bowl a couple of weeks ago. And specifically when it came to Nick Bolton, Schrager said he doesn't know how Nick Bolton walks out that door and is not a member of the Kansas City Chiefs in 2025. Here's more from Peter Schrager, what he had to say when we sat down with him a couple of weeks ago in New Orleans.
Last thing, I'll ask you about the Chiefs. They got some impending free agents with Trey Smith and Nick Bolton. Not a ton of cap space. How do you think Brett Veach is going to navigate all that?
The one thing I've learned about the Chiefs, whether it be L'Jarius Sneed or Tyreek Hill or Willie Gay, this team has alternatives because they draft so well. So if Trey's going to go out on free agent market and get a top dollar deal, I mean, I don't think the Chiefs are going to have any spite for him, and they'll say, God bless you. If they can pay for him, they would. Nick Bolton, though, I mean, Nick Bolton's the heart and soul of that defense. I don't know how you could let Nick Bolton walk out that door. That guy is the heartbeat of that D, and I would be shocked if Nick Bolton got a free agent deal elsewhere and they let him walk.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
I think Schrager hits the nail on the head here when talking about Nick Bolton. He is the heart and soul, the leader of this defense, one of the captains on this squad, and it's hard to imagine Nick Bolton not being there with how much the Chiefs depend on him as one of these guys to lead this defense. And we talked earlier in the week about this cap situation of the Chiefs and other teams having more money than we initially thought with where the cap is going compared to what we projected it to be. And when you factor in that Mahomes is likely going to restructure and there's several other players that will restructure or get released, there will be money to be found. And if you want Nick Bolton to come back, you can find a way to bring him back and at a reasonable price, not giving him franchise tag money, and still keep him around long term. And as kind of like we talked about with Schrager too, it'd be tough to replace Nick Bolton. Now, granted, I think it'd be a lot tougher to replace Trey Smith at the guard spot, but still, with the impact that Bolton's had, it's hard to imagine this Chiefs defense without him at this point in time. And he's just now entering the prime years of his career. Wasn't too long ago, he was a second-round pick out of Mizzou. He's been a part of 2 Super Bowls now. Really, Nick Bolton is just getting started. And I would say this about Nick Bolton as well. This is a guy that went into 2024 with something to prove. He said that he needed to do a better job of getting after the quarterback and creating turnovers. And this year, he had an interception, 1 forced fumble, had 11 TFLs. His coverage stats, I know that the QB rating's pretty high, but still was a part of 6 pass breakups, held his receivers to under 400 yards this year. I think the best is still yet to come with Nick Bolton. And what I would say, my parting message here before we go, if you go to sleep tonight and you're saying your prayers, what I would pray for this evening, folks, is a prayer for Brett Veach to find a way, just find a way to keep Trey Smith and Nick Bolton. Because I think you can manage losing one of them. You can find a way to make that work. It would suck, don't get me wrong, but you can manage through that. If this team wants to get back and compete for another AFC title and get back to the Super Bowl, the road is going to be a lot tougher if you lose both of these cats here. And time's ticking. It is getting very close. Hopefully they can get something done. But It's going to be a tall task of what Brett Veach has over the next couple weeks to try to keep one or both these guys at this point in time. If you had to pick one to keep, would you rather keep Trey Smith or Nick Bolton? Type TS for Trey Smith. Type NB for Nick Bolton. Weigh in the comment section and let us know. Appreciate you joining us here on the Chiefs Report. If you enjoyed today's show, you already know what to do. Hit that like button. We certainly would appreciate it. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.